Utilities are a particular thing because they are both necessary. That's one aspect. So we all need heat. We all need water. So that was always a very strong argument for nationalisation. The problem with the nationalisation was that it was unaccountable. It was insensitive to the needs of local communities. So what we have to do is that social ownership is the way that I conceptualize it is very important, and the utilities and nationalisation is not just the delivery of a service, but the reactivation of communities in the governance of their own lives. So, for example, in the case of water, that's an example of where there should be activity in relation to the clean rivers and the and the and fishing and all those different ideas that we don't need to imagine it just as a centralized model of delivery, but as the active protection by the community of their inherited resources. In this case, it's natural resources. In the case of water, in the case of electricity, there's different areas and heat. There's different areas of the country which have different ecological forms. For example, in the northeast, there's huge possibilities of deep sea energy as well as wind and those other areas of renewable energy. So the local ownership of those utilities is vital. So what I would like to see in all things is the reactivation of society by means of a partnership with the state. So I think that there are huge issues in relation to privatisation, which has just sort of transferred inherited resources to the private sector. So that needs to be resisted and opposed. But the idea that the only means of doing that is through a centralised administrative system is the thing that I object to. The model we're working with at the moment in relation to the public utilities, and so let's assume for a moment that there is no participation of money markets and capital. So where it would be is that a third of the seats on the board would be directly elected by the people who live in the area. So there'd be a representation of the locality. A third would be by the workforce, so there would be active participation of workers in the governance of the utility, and that's an old Labour idea that used to be till the 30s with the railways, and there was a strong move for that in the mines as well, so factory councils and those ideas, and then a third by the state in terms of accountability, in terms of its resources. So a balance of interest in the governance of those utilities, a third local, a third workforce, and a third state, and they have to negotiate the strategy. In terms of rail, there has to be a relationship between the users, the workers, and the funders. So therefore, the rail franchises, there'll be a combination of consumer and local people, because those stations are very important parts of people's lives. Then the workforce, because that's a key component of it, and then the state in terms of integrating it into a national rail system, which is a vital thing.